Welcome back, friends. My name is Sonia from Harmony Leaf Homestead. Today we're going to talk about milk and yogurt, and eventually we're going to make cottage cheese, homemade. But today we're going to make yogurt. Did you even know that you can make homemade yogurt very simple? And it really will save a lot of money. So let's get started. First, I have the milk from the cow, but you don't have probably the milk from the cow. But let me show you here. This is a line here that you could probably see in the video. This is a cream line, and this is the skim milk. Whenever you have raw milk, they separate. When you buy the ones at the grocery stores, they put a emulsifying product in there where I think they spin it long enough to it emulsifies, and those don't separate anymore. Which that's not ideal for health, but that's what they have to do in the commercial world. But you can go to a health food store. You can even find a dairy that sells raw milk. The health food stores do not sell raw milk yet, but they do sell a cream line milk. So let me show you why I'm telling you about the cream line. Because we're going to make yogurt and sour cream all in one. So let's start. First, I'm going to use the Instapot. The Instapot is the easiest thing to use for yogurt and milk because it doesn't scald your milk. It does it for you. You don't have to stay by the stove and keep stirring it and make sure you don't burn that bottom. The Instapot is the best thing in the world for that. There are other methods that are, if you don't have Instapot, there are other methods you can use, but we're going to show you how to do this. First of all, I'm going to have to stir a little bit of the cream, or we're going to do some plop plop in there. But pour in your milk and your cream. And the reason you'll like this, you remember my other videos? Remember me telling you I'm lactose intolerant? I'm not lactose intolerant to raw milk. That's a whole nother story. And I think other people will tell you the same thing if they've had raw milk. Anyways, you'll stir that up. You'll stir the cream and the milk together. And then you'll find your Greek yogurt. Look on the back to make sure it says live active culture. Just the cheapest one you can find. You don't have to buy the big tub. You really don't even need but maybe half of this container, but I use the whole container. But for the sake of you buying it at the health food store, you're going to have to boil your milk because it is not stable enough to hold a new bacteria. Raw milk can hold another bacteria. So what you'll have to do is when you put your milk in, I'm not for sure you can see this very well, but a lot of you know that if you have an Instapot, you have a yogurt setting. When you push that yogurt setting, you're going to give options. It says boil. So whenever you says boil, you press start. It says on, it will do everything for you. Just set the lid on top. You don't have to make it go down. But it's going to boil, and it's going to do everything for you that you need to be done to sanitize your milk. After it's all done, I'm not for sure how long it takes. I think it depends on each machine. But it depends how it'll go off. Just leave it there. Come back in about an hour. Take the temperature of your digital thermometer. If it's under 110, that's perfect. So, for the sake, I'm going to cancel it right now. For the sake of TV, we're going to show you that it's already been boiled. It's already cooled down to under 110. The reason you want it to cool under 110 is because you'll kill your live active yogurt bacteria. So once it's got to that point, you just take your yogurt, and you won't have to do this every time. because all you'll have to do on your next batch is take out a cup of yogurt and save it, stick it in the freezer. So once you get that, you stir it up. Now remember, this is still under 110 because you let it cool down after boiling. Make sure everything gets stirred up. If you have to, use a whisk, but sometimes being a little bit warm, it'll stir up pretty good. So, okay, so once you got that stirred up, you'll put the lid back on, and then you go back to your yogurt button again. So you go back to your yogurt button, you press yogurt. You don't want boil anymore, but you want to be able to set your time. I set mine 20 to 30 hours. And the reason I do that is because the longer you sit, or the longer you incubate yogurt and let that bacteria work, it is going to eat up all that lactose. So your yogurt is lactose free. It will be a sour yogurt, but all you got to do is add honey whenever you start eating it, or Splenda, or your stevia, whatever sweetener you like. Maple syrup is even wonderful. But anyways, that's the sourer your yogurt, the less lactose. So I won't dump too much on you, but I will tell you that I have before only let it go for 3 to 5 hours. You get a sweet yogurt, but if you're lactose intolerant, it can upset your stomach unless you use raw milk. Now, if I would have bought the store milk and made yogurt out of it, even though for the 20 or 30 hours, for some reason, it still upsets my stomach. I have a feeling it's probably some of the chemicals they add back into it. But I've never had problems with raw milk. I've been doing raw milk for about 3 years now, and it's been wonderful. Anyways, so back to this. I set it for 20 or 30 hours, not minutes, hours. Put the lid back on it, let it sit. It does everything for you. Okay, for the sake of the show, we're going to put this aside. We're going to show you what the results is. Let me bring you closer. Hold on. Okay, now we have what I've done already 30 hours. This is the yogurt I did 30 hours ago. Got it out of the Instapot, and let me show you how you get sour cream, whey, and yogurt all in one. So I want you to see. Can you see it from there? See how it separates? See how you got, remember when we had the raw milk, that the cream would rise? You know what? Let me back up. That night before, I put my milk in the Instapot. I set it on the counter for overnight before I started anything. The reason is it allows that cream, like I said, to rise to the top, so that it rose to the top of the Instapot container, and then it started the incubation in the Instapot. So that way the cream stayed on top, the yogurt stayed on the bottom, and they both turned into different products. So you know how I said that the yogurt turns sour? Well, your cream turns sour. So you have sour milk. So just gently, yes, it does form a skin, but you can stir it up later. But gently scoop that top layer off, because that is your sour cream. And I want to show you what layer is next. And believe it or not, this is lactose-free sour cream. Now, if I would have had more cream, you could add half and half. Say you did half and half yogurt. I'm sorry. Let me start over. If your cream was down to here, you know, your cream was really thick, deeper, you would have had more cream, sour cream, and half yogurt. So you could have done that if you wanted more sour cream. But this is plenty. But make sure you don't do a lot of mixing because you'll get that whey in your sour cream. It looks like I pretty much got it all. There might be one piece in the middle. You have to be real careful because it will sink. Okay. So all you have to do is stir it up. Now, if you want a cultured sour cream, a little bit more cultured, you can set this on a counter and put like a coffee filter over it and let it set in a warmer place to let it culture even more. But in the refrigerator, it'll probably thicken up. So that should be pretty good because remember, it's a little bit tad warm. So there's our sour cream. Now, if you can see, let me wash this spoon off so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so you can see this is clear minus some of my whey or my sour cream in there. As you can see, this is clear. That's the whey. See it? So what you can do is take a ladle and skim off the whey as much as you can. Now don't get rid of your whey because the fact you can use this for smoothies, you can use it for making baking goods, you can use it to ferment your feed for your animals. You can just feed it straight to your animals. The chickens love it. When we had the pigs loved it too. Miss Peaches is now, Mr. Gordy is in the freezer, but they loved yogurt. Anything that have to do with yogurt. So once we get quite a bit of this whey off, I'm hoping you're able to see the difference in the color. So like you have a little bit of a pocket of whey. It's so cool how things separate and really it's already done for you. But you know, the whey proteins drinks you get in the stores, that's what this is, but just in powder form. So you've already got your liquid. You don't need to add any other liquid because, you know, when you make your smoothie in the morning, you usually put your protein powder in and then you've got to add some type of a liquid that's already all in one. And it's more nutrition in it because you've already got the yogurt bacteria almost down, just floating across to see if I can get some more whey. That looks like that's about it. Okay, now I want to show you what's on the next layer. Nice, thick yogurt. Isn't that crazy? But if you want to just leave it at this and keep it as yogurt, then just put it in your container and put it in the fridge and you're good to go. Some people like theirs the Greek style. So let me show you how to do your Greek style. See, it's pretty thick, but sometimes when you stir it up, it's going to get thin. So next, we have our colander underneath. Just got a pan, and then we got just a towel. You don't need a fancy cheesecloth or anything like that. Just use a thin towel, and then start putting your yogurt in here. And what that's going to do, you can leave it for as much as an hour, 2 hours, overnight. But let me show you all the different ways that this can also turn into other products. Okay, let's see if I can dump this in here safely. Because you guys know I make messes. See the ring? See the yellow ring around it? That was our sour cream. But of course, that's also a grass-fed raw milk cow. So anyways, just get the rest of it off. Get it into your strainer. Let's set that aside. Now, if I don't dump it, let me get my towel out. You can either decide to hang it. That's why I said an old towel. Just tie those in a knot and hang it. And as you see, you have whey dripping out. So what happens whenever the whey drips out? So you got it catching in the pan. Let's come back down and we'll talk about it. So let's come back up. When you have this yogurt turn into a thicker Greek yogurt, you can go even further with it. You can even let it hang or drip in here a lot longer. And then what will it become? Cream cheese. Cream cheese is wonderful. Then, if you even let it go longer, what do you get? You can actually turn it into hard cheese by pressing it on something that's really hard, and you can actually turn it into a hard cheese that you can actually end up shredding and making cheese. And it's all has good probiotics in it. So your kids will like it. And the cream cheese, you can make it into a dip. You'll know what a cream cheese consistency looks like. Hold on. Sounds like Amazon's there. Okay, sorry. No Amazon, but 2 dogs that they thought they wanted to be guard dogs. Anyways, this is real life home reality. It's not reality TV, but it's home real. So anyways, the dogs are not barking anymore, but let me go ahead and explain again. The cream cheese, you know how you stir up cream cheese and you get it smoother and smoother? Well, put in a ranch packet. Turns into instant ranch. Make it a little bit thinner, turn it into a salad dressing. There's so many versatile things you can do when you first start your milk and into your yogurt. Yogurt can turn into so many products that you just can't understand. And the reason is, like this whey, it will actually culture milk from the store, milk from the cow, milk from a goat, any other milk. This whey has a culture enough to make all kinds of cheeses, hard cheeses, soft cheeses. You just have to use, say, maybe a cup of it. And we'll go into that later on, probably in the closer to the fall and the winter time, because right now it gets too hot, and sometimes if you have your cheese pressing, it will not turn out as great. So we have to put a decent temperature in the house for that. And plus, you do not want to have any type of bread proofing at the same time you do cheeses, because the bacteria cross-contaminates. It's real interesting. It's a science. It's beautiful how things, just natural cultures that can actually turn into different products. That's why I was always asked, why do you want a dairy cow? Well, look at the products you get out of their milk. Yes, feed is expensive, but when you have a family that's got lactose problems, when you need that more nutrients, if you look up, of course they say, you know, raw milk's foo-foo, there's no other nutrients. But if you do your study, raw milk has a lot of beneficial. Hey, how does a baby cow survive? All they get is raw milk, right, from the cow. How does a sheep survive? They get raw milk from their mama. How does a goat survive? They have raw milk from their mama for 3 months or more. We've got one out there that's probably 6, 7 months. He probably needs to be weaned, but how do they survive? How nutrients is raw milk? I was raised on goat milk, but now that I'm older, cow milk has been my to-go because the bacteria in it, the products you get out of raw cow milks, because you can make cheeses with the store-bought milks. You can make yogurt. You can make cottage cheese. It's the next video. But you can make so many things out of store-bought milk, but you have to tweak it. You have to add things, but the nutrients is not there. So if you can find a dairy, which hopefully eventually we'll get to that point, if you find a dairy that sells raw milk, it's worth it. Now you do have to take slow on raw milk because some people's systems are not meant to have a different type of milk in their system. Even though I had lactose problems, I had to start out at least a cup a day. It's mostly in my coffee or teas, maybe a small bowl of cereal. But I had to start out small, and it did almost take 6 months to notice the difference and how it made my stomach feel. And now after 3 years, I can drink a whole glass of milk or eat a whole bowl of cereal. Making the butter, now I've even realized that butter from the store is starting to bother my stomach. And I'm sure there's a issue with my stomach, but you lactose people know what I'm talking about. But now that I make my own butter, it's a different story. But it's cultured butter now. You can actually let it sit on the counter. Okay, for example, your sour cream, you can turn this into butter that is cultured. Isn't that crazy? So, you know, the French, they have cultured butter. When you go to the store, when the health food stores, you see cultured butter. It's sour cream, milk, yogurt, turned into butter, whipped up. It's crazy the things that you don't know that they're charging you $10 for 2 sticks of butter when this hardly costs you anything and you can do it yourself. Yes, it's time consuming, but the nutritional value of it is a total different ball game. You could survive on that butter. If you made the butter from the store, you could not survive on that butter. It would be just all fat, not nutrients. And I'm not preaching as far as what's better for you and what's not for you, but this is what has helped our family. Anyways, back to the yogurt. You will let this sit. Let's go back down here. Let me show you again before the dog started barking. The yogurt, it'll sit in here for a while. Like I said, you can do anything with it. I throw the cloth over it. When you live in the country, you have flies, you have mosquitoes. Cover it up and then come back and peek at it, because on the sides, you'll start seeing how it sticks to see how it sticks? It'll start having like a drier, thicker edge around here. So you just pick it up and then you move it over. And then you'll do the same side, you'll pick it up. You might be able to see that. See how it sticks to the side? You'll pick it up and it will release whenever it gets a little thicker. But as you see, there's already whey down there in the bottom. You see it? Now, if that whey gets too much, go ahead and dump that whey into your whey bowl. If you don't want the whey, yes, just dump it down your sink. But this is how you start your yogurt. Then, once you have your containers, I put mine in these containers of yogurt once it's finished. Always make sure you wash out, even though they're clean, rinse them out with vinegar and cold water. That sterilizes your lid and your container. So that way your yogurt will not activate any type of other bacteria and grow mold. Believe me, I've had it happen. Even though you have clean container, just always rinse something out that you're going to use for dairy. I even rinse out the Instapot inside liner. I rinse it out with vinegar. But anyways, that is it. hopefully everybody understood what I was talking about. If you have any questions, just give me a message down in the comments. I'll be glad to answer them. But it is work, but it is worth it, because there's no more nutrients than you can give yourself than a product that's natural, not something that's processed. But anyways, thank you guys for joining me, and I appreciate it. If you can, subscribe to the channel. That helps me out. That also will help you out to the next video, because we're going to get into cottage cheese. We're going to get into cheese making and lots of other stuff. So stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe. Check that little hand, you know, that thumbs up. Check it, because it does help for the algorithm to catch it so that everybody can see the video. But I appreciate it. You guys have a nice day, and thank you. Bye.